Well, in this video, I'm going to discuss about the YAML. The full form of the YAML goes like the yet another markup language previously, but the time when it started being used in a different types of configuration tools, then it is named as YAML isn't a markup language, because markup language is just written and it is readable for the human. We can see with the HTML also, we can able to design, we can able to give some styles, we can able to give some scripts to the HTML file to convert it into website. But YAML, we can use it as a database, just like we have the JSON, we have Helm chart, like that only we can use the YAML for those things. We have something called as XML, executable markup language, that is normally used in the Java, the Spring Boot, for storing of the data. But the YAML is normally used in configuration tools such as the Kubernetes, Ansible, and you have a lot for dealing with YAML. And the YAML language, it is just like it stores the data. What types of data it can store? It can store the strings, numbers, boolean, and different types of numbers like the integer, float, and the strings are of characters and double quoted string, single quoted string, and we have the boolean and we have null also. So we gonna discuss these all the things over here. So first of all, I am going to go with YAML to JSON, because we know how the JSON works. For example, here if I take the name equal to Shashank, so as you can have a look over here, it has given me a key value pair in the JSON where name is equivalent to Shashank. So if I just make a line break over here, we can able to see. I'll just add some details. Add details, then you're gonna get this thing. Okay, I just have to add some space over here. So to convert this particular thing into key value pair, I just remove the details over here and add. Okay, see, we have a key value pair in the JSON that is equivalent to the YAML. See, YAML is too easy to write compared to the JSON file, because you don't need to add any braces. You just have to take care of the spaces what you are adding. So this is double quoted string, and if you go for the single quoted string, that's also fine. So after this one, we have something called as the numbers. So in the numbers, we have something called as a float. Float is equal to 9.08 or 06. Fine, it is how it works. And after the float, we have something called as integers. So integers, and over integers, if I mention 10, it's gonna be appended. These are the two types of numbers that we can able to store in the YAML file. So after this thing, we have something called as a boolean. So in the boolean, we can able to store the true or false value. So here we have the true value, and if I don't want the true, I can mention the false. And these are the two types of a boolean value what we can able to store. See, these are the data types through which we can able to store our values. Normally, if there is Kubernetes a manifest, previously we have discussed about these things. We have discussed, we have made a proper course for the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes has a YAML manifest onto which we write some YAML file to execute some set of commands. It has something called as controller, like if you have the replica set controller is there. There is a controller manager, API server, etcd scheduler. It is connected to the kubelet is connected to kube proxy, and it's connected to the container runtime. We have discussed about these all things. So the controller that is managing these all things, it will convert this YAML file into working pods. So this is how we go with three types of data types. And we have another data type. These are primary one. We can able to store bulk amount of data. Like for example, if I want some data related to observability, and I want a series of the data, like what is the state of a pod in first 10 second, after 10 second, like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. So we can able to store it that in format of a list. So I can mention life of pod, after which I can mention it as, for the first 10 second it is 4 by 5, and after 10 seconds it become 5 by 5, and there was a deployment that's going on, therefore it eventually decreased to 0 by 5. So after which, when everything recovers, the replica set has increased it to 5 by 5. So this is the order onto which we can able to store. It is showing me the string or the double quoted value, because 4 by 5 is under integer. So this is how we go with the list. So after this one, we have something called as objects. We normally deal with these objects often, because these are the things what we gonna use over here. So how we go with the objects? So normally objects can be dealt like this. Okay, I'll take the same example, life of pod, and over here I can mention the first and foremost thing, uh, you know over here I can able to mention it as timings. Let's take example of pod life equal to 4 by 5. Pod life, and we can able to mention or just remove these things. I can just add pod life timings is around 10 p.m. Okay, this is how we're gonna use the objects in the YAML file, and these are the simple but the effective way of storing the data in the YAML. And these are the things we have discussed about string, we have discussed about the numbers and the float and the list and the objects, and this is how we go with the data types.